Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid. We are just 2 days out from the start of Wild Card Weekend and the opening round of the National Football League postseason. So to take an early look at all of that, especially from a prop perspective, as the matchups are starting to open up those prop markets, who better than TV? Tom Vecchio of SportsGrid, live right here on this Thursday on TEL. Vecchio, we go rapid fire around all five of our matchups this weekend. Of course, a sixth and final on Monday night, but the five until we see you again on Monday morning as well. Excited for your prop perspective, and thank you for joining us.
Of course, like you said, rapid fire. We got a lot to get to. None of this preamble stuff. Let's just hop right in.
Let's go right to it, Vecchio. Let's go right in. Chargers and the Texans in our first game of two on Saturday. 2.5-point spread in favor of the Bolts. Total still standing at 42.5. We see a road team as a slight favorite in H-Town. What are the numbers telling you, Vecchio, about how this game is expected to be played early on Saturday?
Probably a much slower game, and we have seen the Texans offense be, I don't want to even say mediocre, less than mediocre over the past few weeks. And granted, they didn't play their starters all of last week. They pulled them. We know that. But the game on Christmas against the Ravens, they had 2 points via the safety. So their offense has been legitimately bad over let's call it the past 3 weeks or so. And now they're going up against the Chargers defense, which is pretty solid. So I do expect the Chargers to be, out in front and the Texans to be playing, from behind. So it would probably lead me to the under on Joe Mixon on some of those props. He's also been relatively average over the past few weeks. I've been looking at some J.K. Dobbins unders when it comes to his receptions or receiving yards, just because if they are out in front, he won't be playing that role, and we should be playing a big role for Justin Herbert or Ladd McConkey. That's where I really want to look. I'm also pretty consistent when it comes to the under overall in this game, and maybe a Texans team total. I just don't see this as being a high-scoring game at all.
Saturday Night Football, primetime, Steelers-Ravens. Bring your Advil for this one. And by the way, the Ravens, close to a double-digit favorite at the FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 9.5, Tom, and a total of 43.5. Can Pittsburgh hang around? And also, maybe some player props that you're looking forward to in this game, too?
I really don't think the Steelers can hang around, and I'm almost tempted to take the over on this because I think the Ravens can get there by themselves. They win this game 31-17. That's not out of the question. I don't think we'd be shocked if that was the answer. The Steelers not putting up a whole lot of points on offense. Essentially, the Ravens would cause this game to go over, I'm going to say 80% by themselves with their offense. And we will see the Steelers playing from behind. Despite that, I actually want to take the under on Pat Freiermuth, under on his receptions. It was minus 114. It's now under 4.5. It's now minus 130 or so. So the line is moving in a good way. They have to get George Pickens going, right? So at the end of the day, if George Pickens isn't getting going, the answer is probably a Steelers team total under because, yes, we have seen Pat Freiermuth put up 7 and 8 receptions over the past 2 games, but that's when George Pickens is doing absolutely nothing. So the way the Steelers stay in this game is having Najee Harris have a big ground game. And if that is the case, that means Pat Freiermuth and probably everyone in the passing offense isn't having a massive game. So it has to be a run game from the Steelers or George Pickens. That is their path to victory.
When you get a divisional duel, of course, there is familiarity, but it also gives you a sample size in direct head-to-head matchups. First game this year in Pittsburgh, the Steelers win outright as a home dog. Total 48.5, well under. That matchup in week number 17, 45.5 was the total. It skies way over because Baltimore scored 34 points. This total now 43 in a hook, the lowest for any of the 3 games between the Steelers and the Flock this year. DRS, quickly, what did you mean by bring your Advil for this game? It's hard-nosed AFC North rivalry?
Come on.
Or we're not going to
What kind of football did you play out in California, huh? What did you guys do? Come on. You got in hot tubs? We didn't have that luxury over here on the East Coast.
Spread it out, hot route. You would have loved it. As a speedy wide receiver in the slot, you would have loved it. Vecchio, that's a 9.5-point spread between the Ravens and the Steelers. The other large spread we have this weekend, 8.5 in favor of the Bills in our first of 3 games on Sunday. Total stands at 47.5. 2-part question. Do you think this game stays within the margin and is competitive? Second part, if so, who is the player? What is the prop that has that be the case?
Probably not. I don't think it'll stay. I think the Broncos will win by, not the Broncos, the Bills. The Bills will win they'll win by 10 points. They're going to cover this number. They're going to win. They just are the far superior team. I do expect the Broncos, that is, of course, to be playing from behind. And a Bo Nix interception late in the game may cause this to go over, may cause the Bills to cover that number. And as I spoke about on Monday, Bo Nix over on passing attempts, right? That was sitting at 34.5, a little bit of juice there. That number has moved to 35. So early in the week, we are on some good lines, nice and early. Again, I expect the Bills to cover and win. They're just the far superior team, and unders when it comes to Javonte Williams rushing, Audric Estime rushing. The Broncos are just not going to get it going on the ground.
Maybe the most anticipated game of Super Wild Card Weekend, as we'll keep the mojo going with that. Packers and the Eagles, 4.5-point line, 45.5 total. We had a rematch from week 1 here in Brazil, now in Philadelphia. Tom, what are you looking at here?
I'm looking at some unders when it comes to A.J. Brown receiving, and I think he's one of the best receivers in the league. He's the cornerstone of my dynasty fantasy football team, but ultimately under 87.5 is the spot to go, as we were talking about just before we came on the air. Like, Saquon rushing attempts is what I really expect to shine in this game. And even if A.J. Brown ends with 60 or 70 some odd yards, it's going to be him. It's going to be a balanced offense, obviously, with Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert back, maybe even Grant Calcaterra getting involved. I just think there are too many options on the Eagles offense for one single player to have a game, because if Brown is having to push over to 90, 100 plus yards, we're probably going to be seeing the game fly over. And I just don't expect that to happen with two offenses that like to run the ball. We're going to see the clock bleed out. And it's going to lead to some unders, despite being what could be a very good game, like 6 catches for 70 some odd yards for Brown and a touchdown would be an awesome game. And of course, the Eagles come away with the win.
87.5, a lofty number. Again, look at Tom's top props. Let's put him up there before we get to Sunday night. His early leans for Wild Card Weekend. And an Eagles outright victory, Donnie, is happy. Vecchio, let's finish with this. Final 30 seconds. Sunday night football in Tampa. Bucks, 3-point favorite against the Commanders. What do you like most?
It's going to be a Bucky Irving rushing plus receiving. It's going to be Mike Evans and then Terry McLaurin, of course, running it back. I am expecting points. Line to open up at 49 or so. It's back up to 50. We're going to see some points in that game. Probably one of the best surprising games of the weekend.
Highest total of the weekend as well. Vecchio, a sincere thank you as always. Live right here on the early line to end out our Thursday show. It's Ben Stevens, that's me, and the mastermind of the pigskin, that is Joe Lisi. We just talked about the Orange Bowl between Notre Dame and Penn State, which kicks off tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, our first of 2 college football playoff semifinals. And wouldn't you know it, the College Football Today crew is together for one of our final 2 times this season in 2024's college football campaign. Our CFP semifinal coverage begins tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right before we get to kick in Miami. Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh, and myself, Ben Stevens, all together to take you through the entirety of tonight's Orange Bowl, those live betting opportunities, and how we break down the key matchups that will impact the outcome to decide a national champion. I'm looking forward to it, Lisi guy. That much I can say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is what it's all about, Ben. Just spending time with your friends, watching some football, and hopefully winning some money a little bit later tonight. So I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do for the next 5 hours than when the game kicks off. So looking forward to it.
You sound very excited. We'll be together on Football Full Circle on SportsGrid Radio starting at noon Eastern Time as well, where we blend college and the NFL. But at least you got to end out the show. Let's go rapid fire through our 5 games in Wild Card Weekend, not including Monday night in LA between the Rams and the Vikings. The 5 games until everybody is back with us on Monday morning. Of course, a Friday on the early line is ahead as well. Let's start with our first game of 2 on Saturday in Houston. Chargers, 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Texans in H-Town. 42.5 is that total. Lisa Guy, what's your favorite play for the first game of Wild Card Weekend?
It's the over 42.5. I think you're going to get a dynamic performance, or at least C.J. Stroud's best. I think it's a big day for Nico Collins. I know L.A. is hot heading into this matchup. They're the more complete team, won their ball game down the stretch against, obviously, New England and how they dominated in terms of week number 18. But for me, it's the over 42.5. I like Houston as a live dog plus the 2.5 points, but I think we got points aplenty. Stroud, Herbert, and both of those passing attacks, I think, open up. So give me the over 42.5.
The Bolts under in 7 of the first 8 games this year, but to end out the regular season as Justin Herbert started to light it up, Over in 7 of those final 9. Our nightcap on Saturday in the Charm City, an AFC North rivalry between the Ravens and the Steelers. 9.5-point spread, Joe, in favor of the Flock, the largest number we are seeing throughout the entirety of Wild Card Weekend. Is it too many points in favor of Baltimore?
I think it is, and I know they played earlier in terms of Week 15, and it was a 34-17 win for Baltimore. They won as a 6.5-point favorite. The 45.5 came in to the over, but I think this game resembles the first matchup in Pittsburgh, a lower scoring game. You want to give me 9.5 points, I'll take it. I don't love this game. Out of all the games this weekend, this is the one that I'm not going to dive deep into, but I like the Steelers plus the 9.5. Just too many concerns, though, for me in terms of Russell Wilson. Last 5 games, he's only averaged $173 through the air. They're going to need a better effort to knock off Baltimore, but I'll take the points with the Steelers on the road.
Pittsburgh ends out the year on a 4-game losing skid, scoring 17 points or fewer in all 4 of those losses. Let's get to Sunday. First game of 3 in the triple header in Buffalo. The Bills also a hefty favorite, north of a touchdown, laying 8.5 against the Broncos. Total 47 and a hook. Joe, what needs to happen in this game to keep it within that spread margin?
Well, Bo Nix needs to make some plays with his legs, not his arms so much. Again, I don't know if Marvin Mims and Courtland Sutton are going to expose that secondary over the top. Has to be the rushing attack, has to be the mobility of Bo Nix. If they could do that, I think they're within the number of 8.5. But I'm taking the other side. I think it's a smash job by Buffalo. Playing at home, rookie quarterback now. The training wheels are off. We'll see Buffalo pin their ears back and get after it. I think they start fast and dominate this ball game. I think they win by double digits, cover this line, and I think we go over the 47.5 bet.
The Broncos have been an underdog 5 times since the end of Week 3. 0-5 straight up, just 1-4 against the spread. Lisi got our 2 games on Sunday in the NFC. Eagles, 4.5-point favorite against the Packers. The Buccaneers, a 3-point home favorite against the Commanders on Sunday night. Quickly, what's your favorite bet?
Yeah, I like the Commanders plus the 3, and I like the Packers plus the 4.5. I think I'd go over in the Eagle-Packer game, under in terms of Tampa Bay, Washington, and we'll see how it plays out.